It should be all right. What's up, guys? We'll get started here in a couple minutes. I'm going a little early because we're going to have guests on the live feed. So, like I said, it'll be a couple minutes before we get going. I appreciate you tuning in here soon. I think we're a couple minutes early at least. There we go. We got Greg and a couple other guys on. So, as soon as I get my guest on, we will start the podcast. As always, guys, if you can let me know what the audio sounds like first and foremost, that would be great. We've got a new setup, so I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. And you know what? I might just check it on my end while we're getting up and we're getting going here. So, real quick. Okay, audio's good. Awesome. So we got a couple different topics today, guys. We've got the second episode of LFK TV that I shot with Matt Mascarenas. We've got, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Jeremy Cassidy and some of the cool stuff that he's doing. We're going to talk about the 2020 iVenue tournament that's coming up through the Patriot Anglers, giving out $20,000. This podcast is going to be short and sweet. As soon as I get Matt Mascarenas on, we're going to start the podcast. Usually I like to wait a couple minutes. But we're going to get rock and rolling, and the podcast is going to be a little bit shorter than what we've done in the past. You know, the podcast before has typically been pretty lengthy. Okay, Matt Mascarenas is on, so let's see if we can't get Matt to join us. And yeah, we can. So Matt, if you could hang tight for just a second. Everybody, as always, wipe your feet. What I mean by wipe your feet is like and share the podcast. The more people that we get talking about fishing, the more people we get excited about fishing, the more people that we're going to have fun with on this show and on the water. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the podcast. I hope you guys are doing the same. And then we're going to get Matt Mascarenas on, and we're going to talk about the second episode of LFK TV, which was a ton of fun. I hope all you guys watched it. Give me just 1 second. We're going to share this, and then we're going to get going. And Greg, the sound's good? Awesome. Share this one more time, and we're going to get started. Okay, there we go. And I think we're still early. I don't have a watch on me. There we go. And I apologize for the finger clicks, guys. I'm sure that's annoying. All right, let's get Matt on here. So I've got an invite to Matt. There he is. Look at this guy.
Hey, can you hear me?
That sounds great, dude. It really does. It sounds great. So we're letting it build for a little bit right now, Matt. We didn't do a lot of advertising of this podcast.
Right.
So we'll let it build for a couple minutes. I hope you wiped your feet. I wiped my feet. Did you wipe your feet?
I was trying to get the camera set up, so I haven't had a chance to wipe my feet just yet. But maybe I'll get a chance to after I can. Maybe we'll see. I'll wipe them.
So before we get started talking about LFK TV episode 2, let's talk a little bit about Outdoor Ed. So first and foremost, the Beatles didn't break up.
No, you know what I mean? No. The
Beatles.
We're. It's more like God. I want to like Nirvana, right? The lead singer didn't off himself or nothing, but kind of Dave Grohl started what's that band's name?
The Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters, and then some other guys. So that's kind of what it is. Every now and then they get back and play old Nirvana songs, minus the one guy.
Dude, did you just say Nirvana?
I said Nirvana. the Nirvana. I said it again. Nirvana song. I can't say it right, but you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, the Beatles didn't break up. Nobody went anywhere. We all have a passion for fishing. We all love the fishing. That's how we met. That's how we became, buddies and the dudes. But we also have passion about other things too. So With me, it's wildlife and I mean everything outdoors in general. And you know, we've kind of went over the outdoor ed, my inspiration from it, but you know,
well,
it's
so let's talk about it real quick. And when you said that we have other passions, I just want to clarify. Mine's fishing, and that's it.
I've seen you play the guitar. I've seen you play the guitar. So I'm going to say you have in sports is a passion too. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's for sure. But let's talk about the wildlife side of stuff because, you know, I don't know what the saying is. I've heard Chad LeChant say it a couple times. Not all hunters fish, but all fishermen hunt, or something like that.
Yeah. You could use it either way. It could be, you know, there's fishermen who hunt, then there's hunters who fish, but there's not a lot of guys that are both, you know. And you know, I think I can. I guess I could say I'm both, but I just love to be outdoors. I love to be outside. That's what I've always done, and I've always been a part of wanting to get outdoors. I've always, in the past, I grew up with in a family that kind of was involved in off-roading, you know, so we did a lot of that stuff. So that's a lot of outdoors. So everything.
When it comes to outdoor ed, there is no limits. And guys, I just shared the Outdoor Ed Facebook page. Like the Facebook page, I've been looking at it today, and I've been following it for a while. On the podcast itself, you've had some awesome guests. You've had Brad Peterson, the hunter. You've had Laura Lee from Bass Pro Shops. You've had Ron Lowry, just to name a few. And the topics that are discussed are really, really broad. And then sometimes they get really, really narrow. So it doesn't matter what somebody enjoys in the outdoors. Like you said, what if they're a bit of a bird nerd? You're going to talk about a little bit of that, a little bit of hiking, camping. Everything. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, everything. I got a lot of guests lined up to come on, and it's going to be a lot of guest stuff, you know. I may do some. I get kind of, you know, soapboxy. I kind of got that from working with you. No doubt. Which I'm proud of it. I'm proud I got that way.
Well, you got to speak your piece, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I may or may not, you know, do some stuff like that, solo stuff, but it's going to be a lot of education and experiences mostly. You know, I really like to hear people's experiences with the outdoors, or maybe something that got them in the outdoors, and that's what I really like to talk with. You know, those three guests I had were. They all provided something different.
They were all great.
Every one of them, yeah. And then Laura Lee, we were talking about the Laura Lee guest. Like I know Laura Lee is a great and interesting person, but I didn't know that she had an animal science degree. You know, I didn't know stuff about that. So, you know,
dude, that there he goes. That show was straight fire, to be honest with you. But for all of their, he's having a little bit of troubles here.
We're good. I think we're good.
All the guests, all the people that are watching right now. So for all your outdoor needs, and one of the cool things about the Outdoor Ed Facebook page is you share a lot of stuff, a lot of really interesting, fun stuff. You know, like I said, I've been looking at it today. It's really, really interesting and broad. And guys, if you want to see something during the day that's going to put a smile on your face, the Outdoor Ed Podcast on Facebook is going to be able to do that for you. So that being said, like I said, I shared the Facebook page. Let's talk about LFK episode 2. What we did, guys, if you didn't watch it, a quick recap is Matt and myself, we went out bass fishing with fly rods.
With fly rods. That was crazy.
So,
yeah. I was excited about that deal. You've told me about this for quite some time now. Going out there and bass fishing with fly rods, just taking the fly rods out and not even putting any kind of thought into it, but I always was intimidated by it. Like I was telling you when we were out there, I was intimidated the entire time going there and thinking, you know, hey, I'm looking behind me. I'm like, man, I'm going to snag a lot of these trees. I'm going to get I think I would get snagged more with a spinning rod in that situation, to be honest with you. Not the trees behind me, but just in front of me than I did with the fly rod. So, and I even have my
It's easy. But before you go any further, it's easy. The casting portion of fly fishing, you know what I mean? If you're throwing a dry fly 60 yards, which I've never had to do, but if you're just going out just to Wendell Ken, everybody, sorry, I haven't said hi yet. It's a little bit different with this layout. But anyway, anybody can do it. I really, really want to stress that throughout this whole entire recap LFK episode 2, LFK TV. Anybody can do it. So talk a little bit about your fly fishing experience previous to LFK episode 2.
Previous to that, I fished twice on Clear Creek, which is that stretch kind of between Idaho Springs and Highway 40, or when you start to go up around Bertha Pass. And I caught 2 fish from there, and they were of no size at all. They were maybe, and I thought it was a leaf that was on the end of my line, to be honest with you. But it was a lot of I don't even know what you want to call it, but it was a lot of drifting. So I was letting my rod kind of drift, and then I was flipping it over. So
bobber fishing?
Basically, we had a little strike indicator out in front, so I did some of that.
Yeah, whoa. Slow down, play. You don't have to be fancy. It's a bobber.
It's
just
okay,
a bobber.
Sorry.
It's just a bobber.
See, I'm still learning. I'm learning the terminology. I always hear strike indicators, but I like bobber. Bobbers, bobbers at nymphing. Now, I don't do anything with nymphing. For what I hear with nymphing, I can't even say it correctly. Nymphing.
All nymphing is bobber fishing. So
so that's pretty much what I was doing, And then I did a little still water stuff where I'm casting and whatnot, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't highly involved. And to be honest with you, I didn't keep the fry rod in my hand very long. I tossed that thing and I grabbed the spinning rod and I started throwing Panther Martins or whatnot in there. So I just didn't give it enough try, I guess.
Well, in a couple tips for the guys that are going to be watching, I want to give a shout out to Zach and JC that are watching right now. One of the things I always tell people, if you want to learn a new technique, if you want to learn how to drop shot, if you want to learn how to use a bait caster, you want to learn how to fly fish, don't bring something else with you. If you want to learn how to fly fish, bring a fly rod. You'll figure it out. Okay, and we're going to be talking with Jeremy Cassidy here in a little while. That's taking a guided trip, especially with Jeremy, it's gonna shorten the learning curve a lot. But that's talking trout. We're talking bass. So what was your first take when you saw that everything that we were going to be doing that day was visual? It's all sight fishing. There was no guesstimates. There was no casting to nothing. We didn't cast unless we were casting to fish. Right.
And I was, again, I didn't know what to expect. I was thinking your traditional cast and, I wouldn't even say traditional because I don't know what traditional is. But
let's be real. When you were thinking a river runs through it, weren't you? You were thinking
definitely. Those big loops in the cast. I even brought my wicker basket. I didn't bring it out there because I didn't want you to laugh at me. But I brought it. I had it with me just in case. No, but I kind of thought it was. So I'm thinking bass. So I'm thinking maybe streamers, maybe something like something on top, like a popper or something like that. So I'm thinking we're going to have to be stripping line back. I'm going to have to be involved a little bit more. When in reality, all it was just, for me anyway, the bites that I got was letting the fly go to the bottom and then kind of just moving it from there,
Yeah, you're bass fishing. You're bass fishing with flies. And myself and Matt Neverman, we talked about it on LFK episode 2. We got a hey buddy deal. It's where whenever one of us texts each other, hey buddy, it means we got a favor that we need. And I texted Matt a while back about, hey buddy, I need some streamers. And Matt's a good fly tire. So all the flies that we used that day, Matt tied. And typically the pond that we were at, and guys, if you watch the episode, don't worry about the pond, any pond in particular, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Any pond in the metro area, you're going to be able to mimic what we did. But anyway, for the most part, meat whistles, woolly buggers, stuff like that works really, really good on that pond. And you got no problem. You got no problems catching fish. And I know you like the name meat whistle because you like different names for the flies.
I love the fly names. There's There's sex dungeon. There's these big old gaudy flies with dirty names. Now who can't get in with that?
Some fly guys are perfect, dude. That's just how it is.
I guess that's right down my alley then, huh?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that.
Inside joke.
We were getting the fish that they were interested, but we couldn't get them to take. I got the first one on a meat whistle, and then we tried a couple different flies. There we go. We got Scott Brand's wicker basket and Mr. Satchel.
Oh, baby.
Quite the combo. But so we tried a couple different flies, and what would happen, guys, is we were getting these fish, anywhere from 8 to about 16 inches. We would get them dive bombing the fly, and then they wouldn't commit. So, we're switching flies left and right. Matt gained confidence within, 5 minutes with casting because we're not making hero cast. I never make hero cast with the fly rod. My casts are more often than not little flips, little controlled flips.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed that, and I kept note of that for sure.
Well, and that's the thing is, and I'll talk about the fly here in a second. Maybe my take is a little bit different than some people's take when it comes to fishing. I don't think of a fly rod as something fancy or hard. It's just another tool. It's another tool in the toolbox. If you want to, do a couple twirlies before you cast it, that's on you. I don't do that stuff. If the movement doesn't facilitate me catching a fish, I don't care about it. Right. I don't. The 17 false casts to do the perfect roll and all this, I just don't do it. It's not me. I'm not saying that there might not be a purpose for it.
What is that? What like this is just me from the outside looking in. When I see somebody doing that, when I see a picture of somebody doing that, what is the purpose of that?
Well, it depends a couple different times, and I want to preface this by saying I'm not Brad Pitt in A River Runs Through It. You know what I mean? I've been fly fishing for a long time, but it's the same thing with anything that I do with fishing. My point to do it is to have fun and to catch fish, and if it doesn't make sense, I don't do it. So, if you're using a dry fly, you might use a couple of extra false casts to dry it off a little bit. Maybe you have a particular spot in mind that you want to drop that fly in. I've false casted a couple times because of that.
Okay.
But a lot of times it's wasted energy. If I'm being completely honest, a lot of times it's wasted energy, and I think that people have it, beat into their heads that that's fly fishing. It's this crazy, multiple false cast stuff. And I can tell you from some of the best casters that I know, Jeremy Cassidy being one of them, Jim Weatherwax, the dude could dot a gnat's ass 50 yards away with the fly rod, and his movements, they aren't wasted. You know what I mean? There's always a purpose to them. Go a little bit further, if I'm going to be 100% honest, I think it kind of started with The River Runs Through It, and a lot of people that didn't fly fish before had a false idea of what fly fishing is in a lot of instances. Like a lot of our rivers in Colorado, if we're talking trout fishing, a lot of rivers in Colorado, it's just a little tiny flip. There's no real cast to it. It's a flip, following. But anyway, getting back to what we did, guys, it was a ton of fun, and we ended up getting them on a Jumbo John.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you guys saw it in the episode. It was a big, gaudy looking copper John. It had an orange bead and a black body. It didn't make sense.
No, yeah, it didn't. I saw that orange, and it was just a little bit of orange, but that was the only thing that was different from what I was throwing or what I had out there.
Now, Neverman right now is going, that's because I tied it, baby. It's doing one of those deals.
For sure.
I can't hate on it. It worked.
My hat's off to him, man. My hat's off to him for sure. It was the ticket. I sat there and watched 2 or 3 fish kind of ignore my fly or my presentation. And then you kind of put those, because they were coming in wolf packs. They were like, that's what we were calling them. Maybe 3 or 4 fish coming through, and then they would, come by, and then if we'd have a shot at them, we'd have a shot at them. If not, not. But they'd come by, and they would just kind of go up on mine and kind of do a gill flare, but I wouldn't get much out of it. And then they would go over. They get more, kind of do the same thing with you, but they would take the fly. And you had big fish too. That one fish was probably close to 2 pounds, and for that pond, that's a good fish.
On the fly rod, that's a good fish.
Yeah. And we seen a couple more fish in there that were very interested in what we had going on. And I think if we were there a little bit longer together, anyway, we probably would have dialed it in a little bit more. And
and something that I want to make sure people know on LFK episode 2, you had to go. You were on dad duty. You weren't fishing with me. I was, because there's I did catch a lot of fish when you weren't there. And I didn't rub it in or anything like that.
I knew you weren't going to say that to me, because you're a nice guy. You don't like to rub stuff in. When it didn't help the fact that I'm driving away and you got a fish hooked, and I was going to scream obscenities out the window. I was going to roll down and give you the finger, stuff like that. But, I had to get in dad mode.
So we got Don Broren, the guy, and every time he's on, I'm going to say it, the guy that changed the online face of fishing in Colorado. Same thing. Might need a few false casts when fishing big waters, otherwise pointless. So there you go, Matt. That's from a couple different guys. My thoughts too is it's as I keep hitting this thing, it's just wasted movement.
And the more and more I learn about fly fishing, the more time I spend to really put more knowledge into my angling tool belt, I guess. With fly fishing is there's a lot of stuff that I see, and it's just like with any other fishing, I guess you can say too, is that there's a lot of fluff out there that you might not need or really even use that could keep you away from or keep you intimidated from getting started or even just going out there.
And that's the thing is, maybe my view on it is a little bit skewed, but I don't think anything fishing related is hard. I think that here's my take on fishing as a whole. Anything, I don't care what it is. You go out, you get your ass kicked once in a while. You learn, you come back, you catch fish.
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean? If somebody's afraid to go out and try something new and not catch fish, fishing might not be your deal. You know what I mean? Because guys like me, guys like you, guys like a lot of the guys and gals that are on this feed right now, we have for sure bites. We have bites that, without a doubt, we know that we're going to go out and we're just going to wreck them. But after a while, and guys on the live feed, if you could chime in on this, after a while, it's not the same. You don't feel the same. If it's year 5 of you beating up on spawning kokanee that have moved into a river, it's not fun after about a half hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the same thing. The challenge isn't there. The first time you do it, maybe even the first season that you do it, it's the coolest thing you've ever done in your life. And guys, if you're listening right now, it's something that go up to Almont, stay in the Three Rivers Resort, hammer down on some kokanee. If you've never done it, it's a blast.
Yeah. And you were talking about that too with the fly rod. I've never done it with the fly rod. I've done it with hair jigs, but I've never done it with fly rod in hand. And from the way I understand it, it's not too different. It's just the whole and I'm glad I got to experience it this way is through warm water fishing, which is something that I didn't even think of really picking up a fly rod and going and chasing. I've been doing it for a couple of days. I've been sending you pictures of all the bluegill I've been catching, small bass everywhere, and it's so much fun. It really is a lot of fun, and I never knew that fly fishing could be this much fun. I really did.
And that's the thing, dude, is that it's something new, and as anglers, to keep the fire lit, I believe you gotta stretch outside your comfort zone. We got Scott Brands, who's going to be taking, at best, second place at Horsetooth here coming up in October at the CKFC tournament. He purposely fishes some very difficult bodies of water to get better. We got JC Clifton, like bottom bouncing fries. You know what I mean? We have stuff that we can do. And here's the other thing. This is the other question I want to ask you. So from targeting bass on the fly, let's say you do that for a couple of weeks. Do you think that there's ways that's going to help you in other aspects in fishing in general?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, when you're presenting a fly, from the way I can tell, it's a real finesse technique. Even if you are stripping something, I can see it still, the way that fly reacts, the way that it moves, and it gives off a very finesse, realistic presentation that you kind of want to achieve out there. The way I'm watching these fish react to these baits, it's kind of making me what I start thinking of is not sort of changing my presentation, but downsizing. So I may still have a tube on, for example, but it may not be a 4-inch tube. I might go all the way down to a 2.5-inch tube, a 2 3/4 tube, or even like a Cinco or something. I might even go down smaller than a 3-inch. I might downsize when I'm fishing these ponds. That's definitely what I'm thinking of too.
Well, and also notice the natural undulation of the flies. It doesn't matter what it is. There's just flat out, there's something feathers and fur can do that plastic can't. When the bite gets really tough and the water gets really cold, it just shines. Matt Massey on the feed, he always tries new techniques and things. To him, fishing is a sport that you can never stop learning new things. I second that sentiment, and I know a lot of bass heads in Colorado that thinks Massey's the best to do it in the state's history, and that's high praise from a couple guys. So Matt, we definitely appreciate you tuning into the podcast and offering up some advice. And I want to reiterate, guys, the LFK podcast. First off, I want to apologize for not marketing this one too much. We didn't know what we were going to do.
Yeah, we were almost going to be on the water. It was kind of close, but.
Well, and the other thing is the LFK podcast. Hey, did you rob a bank or something, dude?
I live in a rough neighborhood, and
yeah, you do.
It's get hairy out here.
So the LFK podcast, it's all about you guys. I reached out to a longtime LFK podcast Listener Jeremy Inouye today, he couldn't make it on the podcast. I'm hoping that I can get him on the next podcast. And same thing goes for all you guys watching. If you got something cool you want to promote, or if you got a bite that you want to share, if you got a tip you want to share, reach out to me. I'll get you on the podcast. This new split screen feature is really, really cool.
It is cool, and I'm excited about this. Like we were talking, I'm on now, and you're going to come on my podcast, and we're going to muck it up there a little bit, and then I might take advantage of this more. You know how I am with live. It's taken me a while to get used to the live stuff, and with this split screen, it's a game changer. I really do think that, and I'm excited with this show. I'm excited to watch this show in the future because of this. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this.
It's a killer tool, and one of the things about the podcast. So this is going to be watched over and over and over again by people who don't tune in live. So if you've watched LFK episode 2, where we were targeting these bass on the fly, and you don't have a fly rod, or maybe you don't have an interest in fly fishing, one thing that you can do right now is you could drop shot with a gulp minnow for these little bass all over the metro area, and you're going to have a lot of fun. You might not catch 5-pounders, but you're going to have a ton of fun. It's a really visual way to fish. I'm going to put a link out right now, guys, of a cool hook to use, especially if you're new to drop shot fishing. So it's the Trocar Helix hook. A lot of guys, when you first start fishing, you're going to be tying just the regular cinch knot or whatever you want to call it. But the Palomar knot, for whatever reason, isn't the first knot for a lot of guys now. 20 years ago, it was everybody's first knot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys like me and you, we know how to tie a Palomar knot. Well, when you're fishing a drop shot rig, the hook has to be facing up. Dude, that's a horrible illustration. But
do that again. I didn't do that again. I wasn't. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
I got it now.
So the hook has to be facing up. And, one thing you can do is you can tie a Palomar knot. If it's not facing up, you can run the line through the eyelet again. But if you just want to get going and you're not worried about learning a bunch of knots, you can use this Trocar Helix drop shot hook. And not only can you tie whatever knot you use, and you don't have to worry about it because the hook's always going to be positioned up. Anybody that drop shot fishes knows that, dude, you catch a fish, and then as soon as you bring a fish in, all hell's broken loose. Your line's wrapped around everything.
Yeah.
Half the time you got to take the drop shot weight off, and you got to fix your line, all that stuff. The Helix fixes a lot of that. So, guys, again, the two things that LFK TV episode 2 is going to give you. Hopefully it inspired you guys to get out and catch some bass in your own neighborhood. And number 2, try something with a fly rod. If you're not interested in the fly rod, a drop-shotted gulp minnow on this Helix drop shot hook is straight fire. I mean, it just is. And then on top of it, it's a Trocar, so it's the sharpest hook on the market. It's just something that I know that you guys will catch fish with. But other than that, so one of the things we're building on the never-ending Born to Fish Media website, Matt, and this is something I'm going to ask all the guests, is what fishing tip do you have to share with everybody today?
Fishing tip?
It's not like we did a pre-call and I told Matt, hey, think about a fishing tip. So you're on the spot.
No, I am on the spot. The pre-fishing tip, I don't want to go cliche and, do the old, if you're not winning, you're learning type of deal. But, the biggest thing I want to say is that fish, don't fish what okay, here's one. See, I had to think of one. I was buying time to think of one. And we're going to get close to where we're going to have weather changing. We're going to be going digging right into fall. I feel like we're going to go from summer, 90-degree weather, right into 70, 60 degrees. And, that's our highs. So don't fish what the seasons should be. I mean, fish what the seasons tell you, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
That's great. Yeah.
So if you're going out there and it's been, you've had these temperatures of really cold weather for a couple days, and then pay attention in the mornings too. When you get up in the morning, I like to go and see what the weather is outside. If it's really cold, kind of pay attention to where all the weather is around, and it can give you a good idea on where that fall bite is going to really start to pick up. And what I'm talking about is those shad. When those shad down here on the Front Range, all those lakes that we go and fish, when those bites really get going, whether it's a white bass bite at Boyd or Jackson or something, or with Wiper there, whether it's one of those bites, whether it's a spoon bite or a jig and wrap bite, whatever it may be, the weather affects that. So pay attention to the cold weather, and like I said, fish or use the weather as what it dictates, what it's doing, not what it should be at that time. So
don't. I mean, and it's a good tip. Period. Just don't fish history. You can go. Yeah. You can approach a body of water with history in mind, but if that's your only game plan, I hope you're flexible, because you're going to be. It's just not
right.
good. You're going to get your butt kicked more often than not.
Use history as a starting point, but don't use it as a defining point. Like, if you're going there, this is what I caught him on 2 years ago. This is what we're gonna catch him on today. Just use it as an idea. Have an idea of what it can be, and then go from there.
There you go, Matt Massey. Fish the moment.
There you go. Yeah.
My mom says hi, so hi, Ma.
Hey, Ma.
So Matt, they can find you on Outdoor Ed on Facebook. I shared the link. I will share it again.
Yeah, go there, like the page, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff in the works now, and I was really trying to build kind of an audience and get it going out there. And also I'm very active on IG, aka Instagram. Did I say that correctly?
Look at that. IG.
Oh, wow. Instagram, Outdoor Ed Podcast there as well. And go find me over there. But I'm looking forward to this new adventure that I'm going to be going through, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited you're going to be a part of it too, because we're going to get you a hunter safety card here coming up. We're going to go through that process with you.
Dude, I'm ready to pew some ass.
We're going to go out. We're going to go out and chase Bugs Bunny around. Maybe some pheasants or something. But yeah, you're gonna be a part of it also. And just going forward, I mean. I just want to share those outdoor experiences and get everybody excited about being outside.
Perfect. And you're one of the most passionate guys I know. I know it's going to be an adventure. And one of the coolest things about it is this is all you. There's nobody else doing it. This is all you. It's something that you could take, you know what I mean? And that's the thing I love most about it, because I don't know if you guys, most of you haven't had the pleasure of watching Matt Mascarenas listen to music. He doesn't do anything half-hearted. I can tell you that. I can tell you that without a doubt. Matt, we appreciate you joining us on LFK, something that you helped build. And all the best for Outdoor Ed. I'm going to be on there soon. I shared the link, guys. Make sure you go to Instagram, and make sure you follow him on Instagram. Maybe you could do yourself a solid and share your Instagram on your Facebook page, so all the guys can find it soon. Other than that, we're going to be shooting an actual podcast sometime here soon that'll be up on Born to Fish. It'll be up on all the different stuff. And then Outdoor Ed, as soon as our podcast goes up, the one me on Outdoor Ed, I'm going to share that on Born to Fish Media as well, to where everybody can find it. Appreciate you a ton, dude, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Right on. Peace out, brother.
All right, guys. That was awesome. Matt Mascarenas, the Outdoor Ed Podcast. I shared all of his stuff. I'm going to get Jeremy Cassidy on here in just a minute, but before I do that, I'm going to share a link right now to 2020 iVenue. So the 2020 iVenue Patriot Anglers $20,000 tournament is coming up on October 7th. And that's right, I said $20,000. So you have the opportunity to win $20,000. There's a number of other prizes. There's a great list of sponsors that are on board. It's a win-win, and the money goes to an awesome, awesome cause. So October 7th, free it up. I know there's a couple other tournaments that are going to be going on October 7th, but I can't recommend this tournament enough, not only for a good time for the entire family, but also for what that money is going to do. I paid for my tournament entry today. It's as easy as can be. So if you go to 2020 iVenue's website, which I just posted right now, you click on there, it's going to have, you go down the page just a little bit, and it'll have a tab for the $20,000 tournament. It takes you right to PayPal. You hit the thing, and it's said and done. You're signed up. You're registered, rocking and rolling, ready to go. And like I said, I can't recommend it enough. I'm really, really excited for it. The Patriot Anglers do so much for veterans, their families, the fishing community, and 2020 iVenue does a ton for the surrounding communities. They do a ton for the Patriot Anglers, and they do a ton for the angling community. So it's a win-win all the way around. I can't say enough about it. Guys, if you have any questions at all about this tournament, if you're on the fence about it, if there's any concerns that you have, you can comment on this page right now. Matt Neverman, I believe, is watching. He's one of the owners. It's him and his wife that own 2020 iVenue. They can help you out with answers to that. And Lewis is going to be on checking later if he's not on right now. He can give you answers to it. I really want to make this event something special every year, not only because I love the people that are involved with it, but also because the fishing community needs something like that. That big money payout tournament like we had with the Aurora tournament for so long. You know what I mean? It's just a really, really cool thing that's going on. And, if you want to register, like I said, just hit that 2020 iVenue link. It'll take you 2 seconds and register. Let's say you're not going to be fishing on, you're going to be doing something else on October 7th for whatever reason. Buy somebody else a ticket. You know what I mean? Buy somebody else a ticket and have a deal like, hey, dude, you win the $20,000. We're splitting this. Jeremy, I'm sending you an invite right now. I'm trying to, there we go. So Jeremy's going to be joining us soon. I wanted to share that. And like I said, guys, if you got any questions about the 2020 iVenue tournament, we have guys to answer it. I'm going to get back over to Fish Explorer, and I'm going to make sure I post answer any questions over there as well. So now we're joined by Jeremy Cassidy. Most of you guys are going to know Jeremy. He's been active in the fishing community for a long time. I've been dragging him on the water with me since he was knee-high to a grasshopper, and even then, that might be stating it. You were young when we first started fishing together, really, really young.
Oh, yeah, 4 years old as far as I can remember.
So right off the bat, my mom said...
Hey, I'm married to it, yeah.
There you go. Right off the bat, I got to bring that up. So before we start talking about the guiding opportunities that you have right now, because you are a fly fishing guide, we tried to shoot LFK episode 2. Well, actually, LFK, it would have been episode 1. And it's just like fishing, you know what I mean? You go out, you get your ass kicked, you learn, you come back a better man. Well, we went out, we caught a ton of fish. We got our butts kicked with trying to capture it on film. But, it just, for me, it gave me a window into some of the bodies of water that you could take people on. And the list is...
Yeah, there's some amazing things out there, yeah.
Well, I was just about to say, the list is really, really vast. Are you focusing on big fish? Are you focusing on fun? Or is it, a client contacts you? Tell me what you're
fun.
Offering. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to cater to anybody who does call. And, sometimes I get calls that somebody wants to go try to catch the biggest fish of their life, their personal best. That's when we start looking, okay, maybe we want to go to the Dream Stream. There's big fish that swim around in there.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to go to one of our private lakes that hold 10-pound trout. Then there's also, I get calls that, hey, we just want to go out and have a great time and catch fish and not worry about anything. We cater to everything.
Well, see,
from beginner to advanced.
And the thing that I love the most about that is you mentioned the Dream Stream, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit because I've been promoting everybody's stuff but my own. But I've got a seminar coming up. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But you've been fly fishing for a really long time, and I want to tell a little story that I don't even know if you remember it. So my Aunt Snooks worked at Eagle Claw, so I got in an old school. You could switch. It was a Trailmaster rod, I think is what it was called, and you could switch it to be a spinning rod, to be a fly rod. It had an attachment to make it a casting rod, and I used that for everything. I think I was 11 or 10 or something like that. Uncle Jim, your dad, took us to Georgetown, and I'm sitting there and I'm casting the fly rod. And back then, you didn't have one yet, but you picked it up, and within about 5 minutes, you were doing what I could do, and I'd been doing it for a while at that point. So you picked it up naturally.
I'd been watching. Yeah, well, it was one of those things. I guess you could call it natural, but a lot of it was watching.
Yeah.
Like you said, I used to. You were 7 years old, 8 years old. I was 4 or 5 years old, and I'm kind of holding onto your, onto your shirt while we're walking through the river, and I would watch how you casted a fly rod, and I believe it or not, I do remember that. Something sticks out in my mind about a bridge. Were we on a bridge?
Well, actually, it was a dock. It was a dock on Georgetown, and it was just a cool moment. And one of these days we'll have to do a podcast just about all the cool moments that we've shared together on the water. We fished together our entire lives. But one of the coolest things for me as I don't know if you want to call it a mentor or whatever you want to call it is, and I wrote an article about it a couple years ago. It was one particular day on the Big Thompson River, and up to that point, I'd had you on that river when you were so young that you were, rightly so, you were scared to be in the water. And then
my mom was scared for me to be in the water.
But you never turned around. You know what I mean? But there was one point in particular, I can't remember how old you were, I can't remember how old I was, but I look back and you weren't there. And you know, to be honest, I got scared. Well, I look back and you were focusing on the water. You know what I mean? Then you catch a fish. And I'm thinking, all right, now he's going to start yelling for me. Now he's going to start yelling. He's going to start screaming for me. Not that I thought you needed my help, but I thought that you needed my validation to see that you caught a fish. And we never carried nets back then. You brought the fish up to your hand. You unhooked the fish. You let it go. And at that point in time, it was the first time I thought that I really taught somebody about fishing. You know what I mean? That it's for guys like us, it's not always about like, hey, dude, look what I caught. It's about being in the moment. And I don't know. For me, for whatever reason, that's a really, really special moment in my life as an old dude that likes to fish with everything. But that being said, we started fly fishing the Big Thompson only for years and years and years now. And you've been fly fishing all over for years.
Yeah, absolutely. Years. Yeah, it's one of those things. Well, you've done the same thing. It was another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
And a lot of instances, especially going to the rivers, even tailwaters, sometimes that outshined the spinning tackle.
Yeah.
And then, talk about pike fishing or something like that. You could go throw big swim baits. There's something special about grabbing a 7-8 weight rod, throwing on a big streamer. The Rocky Mountain Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's a great place to go and learn. Or where I went and learned how to throw, big stuff for bigger fish, and
well, dude,
it was just
you've caught a bigger bass than I have on a fly rod. You caught a bigger bass than I have on the fly rod.
Yeah,
it's just like you said, it's approachable, and that's why I'm so excited about you being a fly fishing guide. Is because I think that you could pull people into fly fishing that might otherwise be intimidated by it. Let's talk about the last group that you took out. I believe there was 3 of them. What was the name of the body of water that you went on? And you guys, it looked like you guys just absolutely slayed them.
I got to be honest, the little pond, which is private, and it's actually a chain of ponds. There was like 3 or 4 ponds, very small, connected. It doesn't really have a name. It's in Idaho Springs. I'll leave it at that.
Perfect. So
it's close to town.
Yeah.
And I mean, chock full of fish. It's got a couple of small inlet streams coming into it. It's got brookies, it's got browns, it's got rainbows, and I mean, talk about just going out and having fun. We caught them on dry flies, we caught them on streamers, we caught them on nymphs. And when I say we, they did. And just had a ball.
And a couple of them it was their first time fly fishing, right?
Oh yeah, 2 out of the 3. It was their very first time fly fishing.
So, quick recap here. You've got a body of water that you can guide on that's within an hour of the metro area. More realistic if you're on the west side of town, probably about a half hour. It's chock full of fish, and they don't need any fly fishing experience to go out and have a great time.
Not only do they not need experience, they don't need gear. They don't need to worry about waters or Gatorades. I'll provide absolutely everything you need, from waders to boots to fly rods to flies. Absolutely everything. You show up with a smile and you're good to go.
And that's awesome. So guys, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you one of the multiple ways to get a hold of Jeremy. One of them is through the discount tackle page that they'll get a hold of you and they'll let you know about it. The other way, they can contact you directly. Give them that information, how they can contact you. And after the podcast is over, I'll go through and I'll add it to the comments. But before you say that, I got to say hi to Wax, and I believe it was Powers that said hi to.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Discount Fishing Tackle, it's 2645 South Santa Fe Boulevard, or Drive, excuse me. And you could just go in and talk to the guys there, or you could call them 303-698-2550 and book it there, or you could contact me directly 720-202-7487.
So Wax just gave you a slogan that is money. If it's not already,
you leave with an addiction. Look at that.
Dude, it doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better than that.
Is that what he says to the people that come into his brewery?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, the dude. Wax. We were talking about you earlier when we were talking about fly casting. He could dot a gnat's ass. You know what I mean? With those big flies. And we're gonna get Wax on the podcast sometime soon because it's one of those things like me and you have talked about before. Not only is fly fishing fun, it's a tool. You know what I mean? It really is. It's a tool. It doesn't have to be intimidating. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I'm really, really excited about you being a guide is I really think that you're going to be able to pull people in. If anybody's fished with Jeremy, they can attest to it. You're going to have a great time. You're going to have a ton of fun. You're going to learn. And again, to recap, they don't need a rod and reel. They don't need waders. They don't need anything. They just need to, as Wax put it, he's got it. And so every time you say that, you got to give Wax credit. So all you've got to do is show up with a smile, and you're going to leave with an addiction.
Absolutely, and you know, I've already been called by those folks that I took out. You know, they can't wait to get back here and do it again, and that's, I mean, to me, that's what sold it for me. You know, that's what made the whole, you know, taking this step and this adventure that I'm doing. Oh my God, everything I want.
Well,
you know?
The thing is with me is, and this is on a personal level, I enjoy spending time with passionate people. You know what I mean? I like people that absolutely love what they do, and knowing how much, not only do you love to fish, but we're both former athletes, and for whatever reason, people that played sports, I'm not saying only people that played sports, so anybody that's not athletic, don't get mad at me.
It helps.
But we love passing stuff on. You know what I mean? I think what it is we were coached our whole lives, and now outside of coaching, it gives you another avenue to coach and have fun with people and get them to see that, especially with fly fishing, it doesn't have to be hard, and it's always fun.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, I have to be dead honest. You know, back when we were doing our own fishing website, and you know, back in Donald Broerin's days with Colorado Fisherman site. You know, I always thought, oh, I want to help people. I want to do this, and I want to help people. And you know, I never really knew that true meaning until I stepped into the guiding role, and seeing, you know, people who I don't know, who I've never met, leave with that smile and that just fulfillment. Oh my God, man! Now I know what it means. Well, now I know what passion means.
Well, and to me, you've watched the podcast. Everybody that's on the podcast right now. Hey, how's it going, George? They follow. If it's probably not the first podcast that they're watching, the LFK podcast. To me, people are more important than stuff. They're more important than gear. Passing on tradition, passing on the right way to do things, passing on how to respect the outdoors, all the things that we love. It is important, but there's nothing more important than passing on how fun fishing can be, period. We don't have to complicate that statement. Right. We don't have to say anything else. There's nothing more important to the future of fishing than us sharing how fun it is to future generations, to people that might not have been as lucky as we were, had aunts, uncles, grandma and grandpas, mom and dads that took us fishing. So now as a guide, you're on the front lines of growing the sport of fishing, and as a member of the fishing community here in Colorado, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And I couldn't be happier about
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, dude, it doesn't get better than that. So I got a couple other things that I gotta add on here before we call the podcast, Jer. Just stay on with me. We'll finish the podcast with the two of us.
Yeah.
So again, guys, I'm going to share the 2020 link one more time. 2020 iVenue is where you need to go to get your Fishing with Honor tournament tickets. It's $20,000. It doesn't get better than that. I don't want to keep talking about it over and over and over again, but I'm going to, because it's great. You know what I mean? Jeremy, you remember the Aurora tournament? I think the Aurora tournament.
Yeah, back in the day.
Oh, dude. And now we have that. We have that again. But in order to keep that, hey, how's it going, Chris? We need to get people involved. We need to get people going out there. So a couple of things that I do know. You could fish from shore. You could fish from a boat. You could fish from a belly boat. You can fish from a kayak. Anybody that likes fishing,
that's awesome.
You're going to have
awesome.
A ton of fun. And the money goes to the patron anglers. When it goes to nonprofits, one of the things that you want to pay attention to when you're donating money or, you're registering for a tournament, you want to pay attention to the efficiency rating. And what that boils down to is how much of the money that is donated to that nonprofit goes to the people that they're helping, goes to their mission statement. And the Patriot Anglers, their efficiency rating is high. And here's another thing, their books are wide open. So if anybody has a question about how, what the Patriot Anglers does with their money, all you got to do is shoot Lewis an email and you'll have access to it. They have nothing to hide. It's one of the best organizations I work with. And if you get your ticket through 2020 iVenue, you save $10. You save $10. Doesn't get better than that. 2020 iVenue, owned by Matt and Marcella Neverman. If you guys had been to either the Kids Cast we did about a year ago, if you saw Born to Fish Media, Jeremy, you were there at the Laramie County Fishing Expo, we gave away, I think it was 75 or 100 kids pair of polarized sunglasses.
That was great. That was the best part of that whole deal.
Oh, dude, and there was nothing attached to it. It wasn't like, well, here, I need an email address, I need this, that, and the other. It was like, yeah, here's a pair of glasses, buddy. And we had a couple kids and parents go, you mean these are mine? Like, yeah.
Right, they're free. Yeah.
So 2020 iVenue, and it's how Matt and Marcella are. They're big in the community here where I live in Reunion. They're big in the community where the store's at in the Westminster Orchard Town Center area, and they're big in the fishing community. So, guys, I can't recommend that enough.
So just to be clear, because I actually got asked this question by a fishing buddy of mine, there's one fish in that lake tagged with a $20,000 tag on it?
So, yes and no.
How does that work?
Yes and no. So
okay.
I think there's a number of tagged fish, and when the fish is caught, they have a way to where they check it, and they see, because it's not just one tagged fish, because you got to think about it from the people that do the tagged fish.
You're fast. Yeah.
So it's a way to make sure that there's no fraud is basically what it boils down to. And but there is a tagged fish. I don't know that there's just one, but there is one fish that's going to be in the lake during that tournament that is flat out worth $20,000. Wow. There's also, I think on the Fishing with Honor Facebook page, they posted today, there's something like $6,000 worth of prizes available. Eagle Claw is going to be giving out prizes every hour on the hour. The list of people that are sponsoring the event, that are helping with the event, is vast. Jim Witherwax with Oscar Blues, I think they're providing the beer for the after party, the celebration.
Awesome.
It's just the whole event is really, really cool. I'm really, really excited about it. But here's the thing. I want to see all you guys there. I want to see everybody there. I want to see your families there. I want to see the kiddos there. You know what I mean? Let's make this an event every year that you have to attend. You know what I mean? That you get the kids jazzed up on. Maybe you got an aunt or an uncle. Maybe you got a brother or a sister that you can't normally get to go out fishing. Well, you tell them, hey, we can win $20,000. Let's get out here and let's catch this fish, right?
Well, it's not $20,000. That's awesome. But you could go there and win all kinds of prizes. I mean, you just said $6,000 extra dollars.
Okay, I apologize, guys. I lost Jeremy there. But again, the $20,000 tournament, I can't recommend it enough. We're at the end of the podcast. I promoted everything. I forgot to talk about my seminar. So I've got a seminar this Saturday at Bass Pro Shops Denver at 11:30. I've got another seminar on Sunday at 2 o'clock. The main focus of the seminar is going to be chasing brown trout in the fall. I've been doing it for too many years to count. I can help you guys catch big brown trout. A couple things I really want to emphasize. This seminar is going to be spin fishing for browns. It's going to be focusing on the pre-spawn period. I don't fish the spawning fish. I make sure that when I'm fishing a river that I'm respectful of the reds, all that good stuff. So the ethics I'm definitely going to talk about. I know there's a lot of guys that fish the river a lot that are concerned about maybe some new people coming to the river. Don't worry, I'm going to share all the things that we all preach, that we all know when it comes to targeting fish that move up from the reservoirs into the rivers. That being said, I'm going to help you guys get into big browns this fall. Come to the seminar, I'll help you. And I'm going to stick around later after the seminar is over. If you want to talk bass fishing, if you want to talk walleye fishing, if you want to talk lake trout fishing or brook trout fishing, those are my main focuses when it comes to fall fishing. I focus most on those species, and my main goal with the seminar Saturday and Sunday is to help as many people as I can have just a kick-ass fall and catch a ton of fish. And again, that's let me share the Bass Pro Shops Denver page. That will be, there we go. That will be Saturday at 11:30 and Sunday at 2 o'clock. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. I want to thank 2020 iVenue, not only for supporting the podcast, but for everything that they do. Bass Pro Shops Denver, Eagle Claw, the Patriot Anglers, and I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Cassidy. You know, like I said, book a trip with the guy. If you got somebody interested in fly fishing, book a trip for them, go with them, go out with Jeremy. You're going to have an absolute blast. And to borrow something from Jim Weatherwax, show up with a smile, leave with an addiction. You know, it doesn't get better than that. And also, Matt Mascarenas, my old partner with the LFK Podcast. Matt is now hosting his own show. It's called Outdoor Ed. He's focusing on all things outdoor related. You know, hunting, hiking, off-roading, fishing, of course. And his Facebook page is just packed full of information. And he's already had some top-notch guests on. He's had Brad Peterson, he's had Ron Lowry, and he's had Laura Lee from Bass Pro Shops. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to stay on the feed for just a couple minutes. If you guys got any questions, let me know. If you have any questions about the 2020 iVenue tournament, you know, you can reach out to Matt Neverman directly. Most of you guys that are on here, most of you guys that are going to be watching this, you know Matt Neverman, but I'm gonna put the page out one more time. Shoot him an email. Marcella will get it. She'll give it to Matt, and you'll get answers to any questions that you may have. That's pretty much the show, guys. I had a blast. I'm really, really excited about this new split screen feature. I'm going to get a lot of guys on. Guys that are on the podcast right now that I want to get on. Jim Weatherwax, I want to get you on. Jeremy is going to be a regular on the podcast. When we do the live shows on location, Jeremy is actually our producer, which is really cool. Jeremy, anyway, fall fishing's coming. He's been throwing those dynamics for who knows how long, probably since the day they came out. And there's no doubt that Jeremy, anyway, gets into fish. So I want to get him on to share some tips that he could share with people this fall for brown trout, for rainbows, for all that good stuff. And that's pretty much it. Jeremy, we dropped you. I'm going to add you back on so you can say a proper goodbye to the crowd here. And to people in the future that are going to be watching this podcast. I don't want his send-off to just be like frozen and then see you later. So, Jeremy, I sent you another invite. Jump back on if you can. Let's tell everybody. There he is. Okay, we got you back on. So, one more time, share your contact information, and then I've got a question for you.
Okay, contact me directly is 720-202-7487. Or you could go ahead and call Discount Fishing Tackle at 303-698-2550. Or go ahead and visit their website. And, you know, Austin's, he's pretty good about getting back to anybody who goes through them quickly.
Awesome. Awesome. So the same thing that I asked Matt Mascarenas, and I forgot to ask him the question in whole. So first, if you were to fish public water this weekend, where would you go?
Public water this weekend, it's got to be Chatfield. I got to get ready for the tournament, actually.
Okay.
You know, so me and Josh Montague are fishing that tournament, and you know, or Aurora for that matter.
Yeah.
You know, go pre-fish that for that tournament, but you know, I got to be honest, it'd probably be Chatfield to really try to hone in on a bite for a tournament.
Well, and now that you say Aurora, I realize that I may have been a little bit misleading. So the 2020 iVenue tournament, out of all the things that I've talked about tonight, I haven't shared. I shared the date. I didn't share the location. So I should probably share the location. It's at Cherry Creek Reservoir, October 7th.
Oh, Cherry Creek.
The link that I've shared, guys, has all the information that you need. Buy your tickets now. Save $10. And then the other question I have for you, Jeremy. So we're building the Born to Fish Media website, the never-ending website build that's taken forever. We're still on it. But one of the things we have is a tips tab. And I don't want to add all the tips. I don't want any tips from me. I'm on this thing enough. So I want to get tips from other people. If you had a fishing tip to share with somebody, what would it be?
Oh, well, first off, get out and go. You know, that's step one. And step two would be to change. You know, constantly change your lure, change your presentation. You know, me and you went fishing this last weekend, and it kicked our butt a little bit until we found something. You know, we threw this, we threw that, we threw this, we threw that, and it always, I remember you caught a fish on a square bill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we went and we tried jerk baits then. We tried other things. It always came back to that. So, honing in on a bite like that and finding a pattern, I think is very important, and especially from shore fishing, if keep trying different things, keep trying new things,
Well,
kind of going back.
Dude, I completely agree. And, I was just saying we're going to end the podcast, and now you bring up an excellent topic. So let's talk about it for a minute. So whenever I go fishing, whenever you go fishing, the goal, at this point in the game for me and you, and for a lot of guys that fish seriously, guys and gals, it's not just catching fish. It's knowing why. It's building a pattern. So like you said, right. the first fish was stuck on a square bill. But then after that, it was like 5 minutes without a bite. So in my head, I'm going, okay, well, I know they're chasing shad, but maybe I need something more erratic. So, like you said, the jerk bait. Long story short, we switched a handful of times, and we didn't get bit more than we did with the square bills.
Mm-hmm.
So then we focused in on a key area where we started getting bites, and if we would have had more time, I think we would have put a legit pattern together that we could have went all over the lake and caught fish. So.
Right, and finding the same kind of structure that we were fishing there. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all a pattern is. I know that when people start talking pattern fishing, at times it can be intimidating. All a pattern is finding something that you can repeat. That's it. That's all it is. So first and foremost, actually take that back. A couple of things you need to build a pattern. You need to find what they're eating. Period.
Right, forage.
Yeah, you need to find where they're eating. You need to find why that particular food source is in the area. Because more often than not, if you could put those two pieces together, you could figure out the rest of it pretty easy. Because
and that draws me to one more kind of tackle tip that you're talking about is transitions. Especially if you're walking on the shoreline, where are those rocks going to end? Where does that tree line or that bush pile end and then rocks start?
Yeah.
Or rocks to sand. Because in that certain situation you're talking about, there was something special about that, and the fish, even though the bait might have been over here, there was something different about that transition that we were fishing there.
Well, and that's the thing. We ran out of time to know exactly why. Because, like you said, transitions are always a good spot to key in on. And the cool thing about transitions, like you mentioned just a couple minutes earlier, you can be a shore guy and key in on transitions. You don't have to have sonar. You don't have to have side scan, front scan. Your electronics don't need to be able to detect a fish part. Okay, you don't need to have $5,000 worth of stuff to look at that and go, okay, on the left side there's rocks, and on the right side there's sand. Flat, right. You know what I mean? You can figure that out. And I think a lot when guys get into boats that maybe they shore fish for a long time, I think that's a big mistake that a lot of us make initially. Is our face is so jammed into our fish finders that sometimes we forget, oh, dude, I've been building these and this for the past 20 years, and I'm not going with these natural instincts that I have built inside me. Right. And so now that you say that, transitions, anybody that watches Fish will think are boat ramps. Boat ramps.
Yeah, there you go.
There's not a bad time of year to target boat ramps. You know what I mean? We've been targeting boat ramps forever. I don't know how many of Chad shows where he's targeting boat ramps. It's just a great place to start. But anyways, building a pattern, that's what we were after. And I think we were on to something, but we just didn't get everything. You know what I mean? We were just missing a little. We had one area that we had the bait. You know what I mean? We had the bait. We had what was mimicking the bait perfect with the square bill. And guys, right now, the BPS square bill that's got chrome sides is just money. It's just money. Right. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to make down payments and monthly installments to buy a couple of them. You know what I mean? They're really
and it's not hard to fish either. You cast it out, you reel it in, you bang it on the rocks, you bang it on the bottom.
Yeah, it's a dummy bait. You know what I mean? And I was talking to somebody about dummy baits, and they got offended by it. And it's like, you don't need to get offended by it. I love dummy baits. Dummy baits is something like you said. You cast out, you reel it in. You might have to vary your retrieve. You might have to do a couple other things. But if you cast out a square bill and you reel it in, you're going to catch fish. Now, are you going to catch as many fish as you could. If you knew a little bit more about it and you're banging rocks, like you said, possibly not, but anybody can catch fish on a square bill. Cast it out, reel it in, you're going to have a blast. 2020 IVNU tournament, I've talked about it at exhaustion at this point, and I will be talking about it until the day that it goes down on October 7th. There's a couple other things that I want to share with you guys before I end the podcast. So Will Dykstra of Tightline Outdoors, he shared something on their Facebook page today that I shared on Born to Fish Media's Facebook page. Yep. When it comes to the angling community, it's a tight-knit one, not only locally but also nationally. And, Will's asking for help for this gal and her family. If you guys can do anything, that would be great. It's like I said, it's on Tightline Outdoors Facebook page. It's on our Facebook page. Again, the angling community is such a tight one that when one of our brothers, one of our brothers or sisters needs some help, we like to help. Tom Key from Tom Key Fish Farms, he's got a kids event coming up. So go to their Facebook page, Tom Key Fish Farms, check in on that. Trace and Sabrina Tomke, they just have awesome events. It's community involvement. It's all the things that are really great about fishing, and it's top notch. I can't say enough about Trace, about Sabrina, and about the wonderful lakes that they got out there. The fact of the matter is, guys, they don't have to open their doors. They don't have to. They don't have to invite the general public in and everybody's kids, but they do because they love the fishing community and they love to help kids. It's a great, great deal. Lastly, again, I've got a seminar Saturday at 11:30, Sunday at 2 o'clock. I'll help you catch fish. End of story. Jeremy, you got it? Yep. You're going to be on the podcast quite a bit now, so you're going to have a tagline. So I probably should have gave you a little bit of time to prepare for a tagline, but that's just not how I work. So I'm going to let you end the show this time. My tagline is, be the example you want to see in the outdoors. That's it.
Well, gosh, Jim Weatherwax really, he nailed it. I got to kind of steal it from him because that's sticking in my head right now. If I had to change it a little bit, get out and fish, it could be addicting.
Well, here's the thing. You can borrow it, but you got to give credit. So as long as you give credit, I think it's okay. But you got to give credit.
Absolutely. Credit goes to him because, that's something that, geez, that's what we grew up on. From the first time we started casting, it was an addiction right now, and it hasn't ended. And I don't want it to end.
And that's why you're sharing it with people now. That's why you're sharing it with people now. Like you said, it couldn't be put better. We got Josh Montague on the podcast now. Hey, Josh, how's it going? One more thing, guys. Born to Fish Media, we talked about the website a handful of times now. Now that we're in the process of getting everything to where we need to get it, we're looking for writers. Okay, we're looking for people that want to contribute, for people that want to help other people, for people that have the same passion that Jeremy shared about helping other people get into fish. That's what we want. I don't want pro staff stuff. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want people that love helping other people. That's it.
And don't forget to mention too, if you have a kid who's getting into fishing or who loves fishing, write Eric, write Born to Fish Media. 10 pictures.
BTFM Next Gen is going to change the game. It's a whole section of the website, the never-ending website, that's for kids by kids. So I've said it before. Jeremy, CJ's still really young, so when you do something, it's still cool. When your kid gets to be 10 or 11 years old, dude, I could come through the door with, a 20-pound walleye wearing skinny jeans and whatever's cool with clothes and stuff like that, and my son would still think I'm a turd.
If you come through the door wearing skinny jeans, we have more problems than.
But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Kids want to see their peers doing really cool stuff, and again, for this stuff, for our lifestyle, for what we love most, for it to continue, we have to show kids that it's fun. And I think a good vehicle to do that is highlight kids that are already doing it. You know what I mean? Make it cool. Yeah. You want to be a published writer? Your son or daughter wants to be a published writer? Perfect. We'll put it on Born to Fish Media. We've got split screen now, so we can get them on the podcast. There's all kinds of different stuff that we can do. Because one of the things I'm proudest of the LFK podcast is it's not about me. It's not about Jeremy. It's about all of us as a community. And I love that. I absolutely love that. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. This show will probably be up on YouTube soon to where I can put some subtitles and stuff like that on it. And if there's anything that you guys want to see from the LFK podcast, shoot me a note. And again, last time, Jeremy, give them your contact information so they can get a hold of you. They can go out and they can have a ton of fun fly fishing.
Yeah, that's, I'm guiding through Discount Tackle. Call me 720-202-7487, or you could call Discount Fishing Tackle 303-698-2550.
Awesome. So, yet again, thanks to the partners of the LFK podcast, Bass Pro Shops Denver, 2020 iVenue, Eagle Claw. I hope to see all you guys Saturday. I know everybody's going to be watching football on Sunday, but if you are going to be out and about, I'll be the dude doing a fishing seminar at Bass Pro and a Von Miller jersey. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome.